Religiously, understand the 7 principles of hell. You understand the 7 demons within you. You understand that whole concept. It's a whole metaphysical concept. We ain't go over that, but anyway, so.
Hey, what up, everybody? I hope all of y'all is having a blessed and humble day. Continue to have a blessed and humble afternoon. This y'all shorty Rachel. I want to welcome all of y'all to the Writers for Life brings you the Let's Talk About It podcast, and this is episode 3 of a Shorty Reacts. All right. Today we're gonna be talking about sacred rebellion. All right, wealth, spirit, and cultural reclamation. All right, we've been talking about so many things. All right. But I really want to bring this out there before we get started, man. Listen, log on a Billy baby. HP in the house, man. For those of y'all that know me, I come from North Philadelphia, right? Listen, North Philadelphia at that. I love representing, the community that I'm in, even though, they got their, how can I say, their failures, right? And stuff like that. At the end of the day, we all out here, trying to become a better us. All right. So let me give a big shout out to Philly. Let me give a big shout out to, my day one subscribers, my new subscribers, the members, people that have, become members to this channel. I appreciate y'all support, man. If it wasn't for y'all, a shorty wouldn't have made it this far. All right. We going, a shorty just, I'm doing this live to, get a couple things off my chest. I will be leaving the link down below for, anybody that wants to come up, you know, say a few things if they want to for a few minutes, all right? When I'm done saying what I gotta say. But there's so much going on out here, all right? From what Trump is doing to how can I say, we can't seem to get it together within our communities, all right? I could listen. I can go about this in so many ways. We got Gary Busted Down Brown in the building. All right, let me give a big shout out to Gary Busted Down Brown. Guys, make sure y'all go check him out. All right, great conversations, great topics. T-Rail is also in the building. Make sure y'all go check him out. All right, I've had conversations with him. I think in other chats. I'm not sure if I think I'm not sure if we've spoken on a panel. Maybe my head is playing tricks with me, but maybe we have. All right, I'm not sure. But anyways, man, back on topic. All right, like I could talk about so many things. All right, but I prefer to bring, I prefer to come on live, talk about improvement. All right. Before we get started, all right, let me give a big shout out to all the Leos out there. It's Leo season. A shorty is celebrating, her birthday weekend. I already put my request out to my baby daddy. I want my Jack Daniels. All right, baby daddy. I know you watching. All right, fiance. Jack Daniels on deck with my, earthly goods. All right, make sure you got them sweet woods on deck. All right, baby daddy. We're gonna celebrate the shorty's birthday. All right. I left on my community wall, depending on the votes that come in. All right. Um, I'll put a little, how can I say, a funds link down there, all right, for those that wish to, how can I say, donate to a shorty's birthday, all right. It's crazy. Listen, man, I don't celebrate birthdays. Listen, I'm not into parties, none of that. I'm really not, all right. But I don't know. This year I wanted to do a little something different. I wanted to build with my audience, all right. So it's my birthday weekend, all right, and I'm not asking for gifts. I'm asking for a vibe, all right. I want to drop a birthday episode that's part celebration, part confession booth, all right. A little secrets might come out after a couple shots of Jack Daniels, all right. Part ancestral toast, all right. Put some music out there. So we're gonna do the $5 music drops, all right. Put some poetry out there, some truth, maybe a little Jack. I'm saying maybe Jack's there, definitely, all right. But definitely some candles, all right, all right. But I'm not doing it alone, all right. If this podcast has ever made you laugh or scream, yes, this is your moment. Help shape, the most personal episode yet. All right. The birthday fund is open. It's also, in the link down below for anybody that wishes to, to donate for the coffee, for some Jack Daniels, for some earthly goods, to have, a good day that day. All right. To have some good comedy, some good roasting. All right. Just drop your donation, vote on the playlist that y'all want. If y'all want some music in there, we got the $5 drops. All right. Just tell me what y'all want in that episode. All right. This is my first time doing this. All right. And it's going to be raw. It's going to be real. It's going to be us. All right. And don't plan on this happening. This not gonna be an everyday thing, all right? It's just a shorty's birthday weekend, and I want to have a little fun with my audience, all right, while I'm celebrating with my family, all right? They, listen, I'm not into cakes or none of that. So, leave y'all comments down below, right, in the post over there. Let a shorty know what y'all want to do on a shorty's birthday, all right? We could, drop music. We could do poetry. We could do, we can get, see if we can get Frankie up here on some real shit, spit some bars or something. All right, this ain't a fundraiser. This is a vibe raiser, all right? Music, poetry, some Jack Daniels, and a whole lot of fucking truth, all right? So the link is down there for those of y'all, just letting y'all know that that's what a shorty planning on doing. I don't even know if anybody's watching, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. A shorty gonna say what she gotta say. Getting that out the way, this is what I want to put out there, all right? Like I told y'all, we're gonna be talking about sacred rebellion, wealth, spirit, all right, and cultural reclamation. And once again, guys, before I say all this, listen, the donations is down below. I don't know who wants to sponsor Shorty's birthday episode, but shit, y'all more than welcome, all right? Just holla at a shorty. But let's get this started, all right? I just want to put this out there. This is in me. This is coming from inside of me, all right? I don't know why I've been feeling like this lately, but for some reason, I've been very poetic, all right? Pen and paper have been my best friends for the past few weeks. I don't know what it is, but, it was crazy. I've been in my head a lot looking at everything that's been going around us, all right? And what's crazy is they told us to pray quietly, right, while they robbed loudly. Told us to, how can I say, meditate while they manipulated. Told us to be humble while they hoarded. But this episode, we're flipping the scripts, all right? This is, how can I say, this is sacred rebellion, all right? What does wealth look like when it's rooted in legacy, not luxury? How do we protect our spirit in a system built to drain it? And what parts of our culture were stolen, twisted, or sold, all right, back to us? All right, I'm going to give y'all a little minute, all right, and see how many people want to leave a comment down in the chat below, all right? And then I'm going to say what is coming from deep down inside me, all right? Some of y'all may call it a message. Some of y'all may call it poetic justice, all right? I just call it, how can I say it? A little letter, right? A cry in the dark of the things that I've seen around us, all right? So I'm going to give y'all, a little few seconds. Nobody types in. I'm definitely going to keep saying what I got to say, all right? Get my earthly goods on, on check. I don't like smoking on the camera. Shorty definitely does not like smoking in front of the camera. So, let's hit Mary Jane real quick. I gotta give her a couple slaps before we we keep talking. Try and give some people, a chance to type if they still there. If not, and guys, we also got a poll down below. All right, for whoever wishes, to hit the poll, put a little vote in. All right. Ooh, let me mute that. All right, so who's the most chaotic killer in your family? You got from the, you got the options between auntie, uncle, cousin, and your parents. All right, and if it's you, leave a comment down below in the comments. All right. All right. Ain't nobody talking. I know these are touchy subjects, touchy conversations. All right. And what's crazy is like I was saying, they told us to pray quietly while they rob loudly. They told us to meditate while they manipulated. Told us to be humble while they hoarded. But this episode, once again, we're going to flip the script. All right. We're going to flip the script. This is sacred rebellion. We've talked about it all right? The good, the evil, and the systems that feed and the systems that feed off both, all right? Cruel mothers and fathers who never healed, all right? Children turning on parents because pain was passed down, not processed. Gatekeepers in the system who profit off our trauma, all right? Who turn our grief into grants and our wounds into algorithms, all right? We've talked about how we forgot the blueprint. Or maybe, we were never taught it because the blueprint was oral, spiritual, all right, ancestral, not printed in any textbooks, all right, or posted on timelines. So what do we do now? we remember, we reclaim, we rebuild, all right? To teach, all right? We teach that healing is not silence, that wealth is not hoarding, that spirit is not submission, all right? We show that the blueprint was never lost. It was buried beneath shame, capitalism, all right, and generational amnesia. We set a new blueprint by telling the truth, even when it shakes the room, creating spaces that feel like family, not institutions, all right? Honoring the elders who carried wisdom in their walk. How can I say, protecting joy like it's a sacred currency, the same way y'all protect that bread, all right? That's how y'all protect that joy. Teaching our children, all right, what we were never taught with love, not fear. This is a spiritual warfare, all right? This is cultural reclamation, all right? This is sacred rebellion. And we're not asking for permission to build, all right? We're building anyway, whether y'all like it or not, all right? The issue is blessings, blessings. What I mean by a chaotic healer, all right, what I mean by a chaotic healer is somebody in your family, right, that thinks that healing, right, means to do, how can I say? I don't even know how to put this into words. I would have just thought people understood what a chaotic healer is. All right. I'm entering words territory. All right. I know work kind of understand where I'm coming from. All right. That family member, right, that in their head they think that they're healing, but they're really not, and they're constantly telling you how to run your life, right? But in reality, they're not healing you, they're not helping you heal, all right? They're keeping you there with them, all right? We're talking about that family member that thinks they have healed and is giving advice while they're still trying to figure out how to heal, not taking, how can I say, how not taking the hand of those, right, that have helped, that want to help them. They push those away, but in the same breath swear they think they're helping somebody out, not realizing that they're hurting not just themselves but the person they think they're helping. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. I don't know if Gary, I mean, that's the best way I could break it down, all right, because I ain't word. I can't sit here and break that shit down like that, all right? But if y'all know, no, listen, if y'all don't know who a word is, make sure y'all go check out word, all right? Hit exclamation word, all right, and the link to Words channel will pop up. We got Miss April Showers in the building. Big shout out to Miss April Showers, all right. Make sure y'all go check out Miss April Showers. Great conversations, great topics, all right. But that's kind of like what I mean by a chaotic healer, all right. Let me see. All right, I'm trying to find a way that I could put this, all right. There's a way I could break this down that I know Gary will understand me. All right. Some of y'all may have that auntie who reads horoscopes but still throws shades. An uncle who fasts for clarity but yells during Uno. Cousin who, how can I say, journals daily, but how can I say, tweets everyone. Or you, and you know it. You see where I'm coming from? You see, like, I don't know how to put it into this, right? Like, what is your healing style? Like, is it like, cry, journal, block, repeat? Or is it roast my trauma before it roasts me? Right? Or is it group chat therapy with snacks? Avoid like, or it could be avoid everything until Mercury's out of the retrograde. You see where I'm coming from? I mean, I don't know how to break it down, but hopefully y'all understand where I'm coming from. All right, that's what I mean by a chaotic healing. All right, we got uncles and aunties that think they have healed, but in reality, nah, man, y'all in that deep quicksand. All right. Y'all still ain't even learned how to share your pain yet, telling other motherfuckers what to do with their pain on some real shit, all right? And that's the issue that we're having. They taught us how to, how can I say, they taught us how to share everything except for the, and that's the issue that we're having on some real shit, all right? This live isn't to, how can I say, convert or convince anybody of anything, all right? It's to, how can I say, show people, all right, that we're not stuck, all right? There's ways of overcoming whatever obstacle gets thrown our way, all right? We don't got to sit here and cry and complain. You see, like, we need to get up and do what we got to do, all right? I've been hearing, so much about the Trump situation, all right? If you don't want your communities filled with feds, you see where I'm coming from, left to right, all right? How can I say, destroying it more than what it already is, as communities, we have to figure out what in the world we're going to do. All right. So what's crazy is, right, like I told y'all, we've talked about so many things, evil, good, all right, from parents to, friends and much more that have done evil deeds in this world, all right. We've talked about the good side, the bad side, all right. We've exposed both sides of the coin. You see where I'm coming from? All right. And, what started me off here on YouTube, right, was trying to, speak for our kids' rights. And my son was one that was done wrong, right, especially within the school system, right. That was how I got started on here. Then I went on to my story, bringing awareness, all right. And, that's those two topics really blew me up here on YouTube. All right. And I had my little, setbacks where, people wanted to see me come down. All right. And like a fool, yeah, Shorty made a mistake and fell for the matrix and got tangled up in its webs, and I had to figure out how to untangle myself, all right, and figure a lot of things out, all right. But even with that, I ain't stopped, all right. I'm still here, all right. I'm still that voice for the women, all right, that, have been through some type of abuse and can't speak up. I'm still that voice for the kids, all right, that don't know that they got rights and are able to do the things that they, are told they can't do and much more. So let's take a minute and speak about, how can I say, spiritual warfare, protecting your peace in a predatory world. All right. Let's talk about spiritual warfare, because this ain't just about vibes. All right. It's about survival. And some of y'all are out here trying to heal in environments that keep reopening the wound. All right. Blessings, blessings. We got Selena in the chat. Yo, the beautiful Selena is in the building, y'all. Make sure y'all go check her out. All right. Great conversations, great topics. All right. Listen, man, she does some of the best interviews here on YouTube. All right. So make sure y'all check her out. If y'all hit in the chat down below, exclamation mark Selena. All right. Y'all will get the link to Selena's YouTube channel. All right. So let me see. Yeah. All right. It's down there. If y'all, I just wrote it down in the chat for y'all to check it out. All right. Exclamation Selena will take you to her YouTube channel, and y'all will be able to check her out. All right. But back on topic, like I was telling y'all, man. All right. Some of y'all are out here trying to heal in environments that keep reopening the wound. All right. How trauma lives, how trauma lives in the body and spirit determines only on you. All right. Why rest? How can I say? We need to talk about, here we go, how trauma lives in the body and spirit, and why rest, ritual, and boundaries, or how can I say, resistance. All right. How systems weaponize religion and shame. All right. That's what we need to be talking about. All right. What's one spiritual practice that keeps you grounded? All right. And I don't know if y'all watch the word. All right. If y'all type down exclamation word, it will take you to his channel. All right. But he will break this down in a philosophical way, in a spiritual way, that y'all will understand all of this. All right. And he's one person that'll sit here and say, look, listen, I don't just preach. All right. I don't just talk about what I do. I practice. All right. So what's one spiritual practice that keeps you grounded? All right. Me, I can't sit here and say, I don't know. It could be a spiritual practice because I'm still learning it. All right. And that's why we have these lives. All right. Each one teach one. Shout out to Cutthroat Entertainment, yo, OG, because that's his phrase. So listen, shout out to him. All right. But that's some real shit. All right. Me personally, what keeps me grounded is writing. All right. Like people's stories, I write and I give it some poetic justice. All right. The people's stories motivate me. All right. To write something with pen and paper that I never thought that I knew, that I never thought I could do. All right. But I had this skill since I was yay high, since I was a little shorty. All right. Since I was, I think, younger than my daughter, and I didn't realize it until I started noticing, right now that I'm older, that my poetry, right, would make people's days a whole lot better. Like, until they started telling me, like, yo, you should write some more, man. I love reading your poetry. I love hearing you read your poetry. And I'm like, for real? I don't even like my voice. But they like, yo, it'd be so deep. Like, And it's crazy, right? Because my poetry comes out of because of me hearing people's stories, all right, or people coming to me making confessions that I gotta take with me to the tombstone, or something that I've been through, something I've seen, something I've felt. You see where I'm coming from? Something I've overcome. It doesn't matter if it's bad or good, all right. I end up giving it poetic justice. Why? I don't know. It's something in me, all right. It's something, and that keeps me grounded. All right, being able to help the next person, right, have a better day. I don't know what it is. All right, what is where do you? How can I say? Where do you feel the safest? All right, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It in one in what's one lie about healing you had to unlearn in your life. Oh wait, I didn't know Gary was talking. Hold up, wait a minute. I gotta read what Gary said. I'm sorry, Gary. I'm coming. I'm coming to read what you just said. All right. Gary said, big screen, right? The more consistent your practice is, the more you grow into it. Because better there, I say, become a pro at it. On some real shit, yo, you ain't lying, yo. Healing is not overnight. And that's some real shit. That's some real shit. So I'm about to hit y'all with something real, all right? We are talking about spiritual warfare, all right, for those of y'all that are wondering, all right? Protecting your peace in a predatory world, all right? So let's talk about it, all right? Because, how can I say it? Because this ain't just about vibes, it's about survival once again. Some of y'all are out here trying to heal in environments that keep reopening the wound. That's not healing, all right? That's spiritual warfare. I'm a surviving warrior, all right? And I won't lie, I've walked into some of your shoes, all right? I walked in some of them, all right? I've ignored the ones trying to help. I've bled all over people who didn't hurt me. I waited for someone to care while I was drowning in silence. And I had to lose the ones I love most just to find out my footing. All right? But here's what I've learned. My past don't determine me. I'm the captain of my own ship. Pain can be fuel if you know how to burn it right. All right? Justice doesn't always come in, how can I say, justice doesn't always come in courtrooms, but truth can still be a weapon, all right? My predator still walks free because of a system's mistake, all right? And I'm not going to say the system's not broken, it's the people running the damn system, all right? But I walk, how can I say, I walk freer than I ever have because I choose to speak, I choose to heal, I choose to love and respect myself so others would have no choice but to follow suit, all right? Not in a million years that I think I'd be, how can I say, not in a million years that I think I'd be an advocate for kids, for young women, all right? But trauma doesn't just live in your body, all right? It echoes into every soul you touch. So we don't bury it, all right? We confront it, we transform it, all right? This is your reminder. Protect your peace like you, how can I say, protect your peace like your life depends on it. All right? Because, how can I say? Because it does spiritual welfare. All right? Spiritual welfare, how can I say, is real. And healing is what they consider being rebellion. You see where I'm coming from? Maybe y'all won't understand me. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking too much. I don't know. But this is how I feel. All right? This is what I think. Maybe I'm wrong, all right? But I'm not going to sit here and lie, all right? Big Mama didn't need no parenting class, all right? She had a slipper, a stare, and a spiritual connection that could humble a whole room, just like my mama and my granddaddy, all right? All they had to do was pick up the goddamn chancleta, flip that shit, that chancleta would learn some karate moves from fucking, what's his name, Mr. Miyagi, all right? And this ain't no karate kid. Yo, they threw that chancleta and that shit was a bullseye. All right. Now, my family is Hispanic, all right? They Spanish, all right? But all I know is that when my mom went, what? Get out of your puñeta! Siéntate, I'm like, oh shit, she's serious. Oh shit, I spit. I'm like, she's serious, oh. I need me some latte. She's serious. I'm like, yo, sis, sit down, man. Yo, stop doing what you're doing. They be like, oh, they didn't want to listen, boy. Next thing I know, she went and grabbed. I'm like, oh, she went from the chancleta She picked up that 2x4 and she said, "This what y'all want to cross?" I'm like, "Bro, sit the fuck down, man. Bro, come on. Sit. I was like, fuck it. Y'all not listening? I'm going down the street, right to Godmom's house. I'm like, fuck it. Y'all want that? Y'all get that. I ain't saving y'all little asses. Fuck that. You know what, Chucky? You too scared to speak up. Angelica, you just too fucking evil. I'm done. I'm going to take my little Susie ass hashtag, my bad. My little Susie ass / Tommy down the street. Godmom, my mom acting out of character again. I think she's like a witch possessed or some shit. She went and pulled out that chancleta. She went, hi-ya! And look, all I know is I don't want the chancleta. I don't want the 2x4 either, man. Like, what's up? What we do? I'm like, come and hide me, man. I'm scared for a second. So I know. But on some real shit, man. My mom and my granddaddy was like big mama on some real shit, yo, man. Y'all don't ever want to experience that chancleta, because that chancleta never missed a bullseye, yo. That shit was like she used to practice target. I'm like, yo, that shit don't even got that little pointy part to the, how when you throw, wah! Right? And that shit was on that little board on the wall, it would just stick to it. No, man, that chancleta had his own personal glue to it. It was like, I swear to God, they did a ritual on that chancleta. That shit aimed. It was like a ninja with them little stars, Batman with his little, I'm like, yo, listen, man, y'all ain't want to get them mad shit. We need to get, we need to bring back a little bit of the, old days. We need to bring that back. I spit a little bit. Shit, man, Ray. Fuck. All right, man. Let's take it to wealth that stacks legacies, not just dollars. All right. Let's talk about wealth, not the kind that buys yachts. All right, the kind that builds futures. All right, because if your money don't feed your people, it's just decoration. All right, like land ownership, cooperative economics, and legacy projects. All right, why generational wealth starts with generational healing. How capitalism tricks us into chase and status over, how can I say, substance. All right, what does wealth mean to you beyond money? And what legacy are you building? What's your financial move? All right, what's one financial move you've made that felt like freedom? Does any financial move we make feels like freedom? I mean, I'm just wondering, all right? Because a lot of us are stuck working a 9 to 5, all right? A lot of us go through a lot of shit. That's a fly in my hair, little bitch. I'm mad. Yo, every time y'all leave this door open, and I'm going to speak loud, all right? Every time y'all leave the door open, them little damn unstable creatures like us women come in here, and they get on my nerves, all right? 2 females cannot run this house. Guys, y'all got to make up your minds, either me or the insects. Pick one, all right? Man, I gotta lay the rules down for my kids, yo. I gotta lay the rules down for these kids. It's yesterday it was 1, today is 2, and that little bitch is flying around, getting on my nerves. All right, I need to get one of them little thingies that when they come by, they go on some real shit. Like, let's talk about let's take a quick minute, all right, and talk about cultural reclamation, all right. And we've been new about it. I don't know if y'all noticed, but they act like we just discovered community, rhythm, and resistance. Like unity is some new invention. And what's crazy is, we've been new, all right? Our ancestors braided, all right, messages into hair, coded liberation into drums, built systems of care before colonizers ever built walls, all right? We didn't just survive, all right? We, how can I say, architect, all right? Architected, all right? We architected a legacy, all right? We didn't just survive, we architected a legacy, all right? But here we are, screaming change using their names, marching under borrowed slogans, ignoring the blueprint carved in ceremony, song, and soil. We forgot that our healing was never meant to be, how can I say, sterile, all right? It was meant to be spiritual, communal, rooted, all right? Cultural reclamation isn't about, how can I say, aesthetics, all right? It's about alignments, all right? It's about remembering that we already had the answers, all right? We just got, how can I say, interrupted, all right? Cultural reclamation isn't about athletics again, all right? Fuck it, all right? So listen. We just got interrupted. So let's how can I say? So let's stop asking for seats at tables we didn't build, all right? Because a lot of y'all are out here, right, begging people for validation, all right? Not just out here on these streets, but more on these social media platforms, all right? A lot of you are on these platforms telling your story, right? And platforms that were never meant to carry or hold the weight of your story. I don't know if y'all understand what I said, and I hope that doesn't go over a lot of people's heads. So let's stop asking for seats at tables we didn't build. All right, let's rebuild the fire circle. All right, let's spark in rhythms they can't decode. Let's reclaim what was never truly lost, just buried beneath survival. All right, we've been known. Now it's time they know we remember. You see, like we've been told lie after lie. We on these platforms, all right. How can I say, speaking in the names of our ancestors that are not here no more, making them feel ashamed. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's crazy is we talk about, we have all this. Now, I'm not gonna say we, all right. When I say we, I'm speaking in general, all right, just so that I can make something long short, all right. I'm not talking about everybody, all right. I'm just speaking in general. If the shoe fits, wear that bitch, all right. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly, all right. Nobody out here has land ownership, all right. Nobody out here in reality knows much about corporate economics and legacy projects. What's crazy is that's why, generational wealth. That's why I say generational wealth starts with generational healing. All right, before we could pass something on down to our kids, we have to sit here and how can I say it? I know y'all hear Gary say it a lot. I know y'all hear words say it a lot. All right, we have to fix home first. All right, you have to, how can I say, love yourself first and respect yourself in order to have others do the same thing. All right, we don't even talk about how capitalism, all right, tricks us into chasing status over substance. So once again, what does wealth mean to you beyond money? What legacy are you building? What's one financial move you made that felt like freedom? Because what's crazy is they said invest in stocks, yo, but I'm still trying to invest in, how can I say, in socks without holes. All right. Before I invest in stocks, I gotta make sure that the washing machine I take my clothes to, right, doesn't make holes in my socks. Shit, I gotta buy socks every fucking day. I be trying to figure it out. And then let's not talk about the law of socks. I be trying, is it like a little dwarf or something that come in here and they be stealing the damn socks? I be trying to match these socks and they be all, I think it's the kids, yo. They be doing that shit on purpose. They be doing that shit on purpose, yo. I'm telling you. That's some real shit. Gary says, stop validating your feelings and confirm the fact that things has improved around you. Facts. Facts. Wealth doesn't improve you. It may show who you really are. And that's some real shit. That's why some people are easily like I'm not gonna say converted. But as soon as people like listen, I don't know. I guess people have never had like $100 in their hands or $500 in their hand or $1,000 in their hand. And as soon as they get that in their hands, you see people wilding out, especially here on social media. I've seen people sell their souls for a few coins on some real shit and some validation. That'd be the craziest part. Like, I don't know. People be out of pocket, y'all. But like I said, this is something that I just had to get out here. All right, like I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I had to sit here, take a couple notes, like, damn, Ray, this is what you want to keep it on this topic, yo. Because listen, I'll be all over the place. Everything goes hand in hand, and I will break it down like that. That's the best way I could break it down, showing examples of certain things. All right, but right, with all that being said, I want to take a minute. Right, let's talk about building systems that feel like family. Is that even possible? All right, because we're not just reacting, we're rebuilding, and we're doing it loud, rooted, and with love. Because sacred rebellion means creating what they said we didn't deserve. All right. So we need to bring up talking points like how to build movements that feel like home, why healing spaces need food, music, and real talk. All right. How to protect your voice. All right. How to protect your joy as a revolutionary act. All right. Oh shit, we got Selena in the building, man. Shout out to Selena. I appreciate that. She said, shout out, sis. I don't got no drops, but I definitely like to put some poetry behind that. All right. Shout out to Selena for supporting the channel. All right. She's one of the sponsors tonight. She's out here sponsoring a shorty's birthday fund and her coffee and her Jack Daniels for her birthday. But let's put some poetry out here, man. I appreciate you, Selena.
Invisible battles fought within, mental health struggles hidden from kin, silent cries for help ignored and unseen. Yet behind closed doors is a raging scene. Anxiety, depression, they silently creep, taking over minds while others sleep. Stigma and shame keep the truth at bay. But mental health matters more than we say. Let's break the silence, end the taboo. Reach out to those feeling blue. Listen with empathy, offer a hand, because mental health is something we must understand.
Some real shit right there. Thank you, Selena. Shout out to the beautiful Selena. Appreciate the support for being one of the sponsors, man. I don't know how to set that little gold thingy yet. I think I did it one time. I don't know how the heck I did it, but I appreciate you. I'm still learning, man. I'm not a dinosaur. I should have gotten the grip of this. It's just that I be caught up with these kids and everything else that I'm doing that I haven't really gotten. I'm getting there. All right. But before we talk about how can I say building systems that feel like family. All right, we was let me finish saying what I gotta say about the wealth that stacks legacies, not just dollars. All right, because that's what we was just talking about before I hop into the next thing. All right. So like I said, let's talk about wealth, not the kind that buys you yachts or flexes on timelines, all right? And I think that's where I left off, right? Because I don't know, I feel like I'm complete right now. Like we was just talking about stacks, right? The legacy and all that shit. Like what the fuck? I know we talked about the protecting your peace. All right, we talked about the cultural reclamation. All right. Yep. All right. Yeah, that's what we was talking about before we started talking about building systems that feel like how can I say family? Yeah. So we was talking about the wealth. All right. So before we get to building systems that how can I say feel like family? Yeah, I said it right. Before we talk about building systems that feel like family, my bad. I just distracted myself for a quick second. All right. We got to talk about wealth that stack legacy, all right, not just dollars, all right. So let's talk about that wealth, not the kind that buys you jobs or flexes timelines, all right, but the kind that builds futures. Because if your money don't feed your people, it's how can I say, it's just a decoration with a price tag on it, all right. Too many folks out here selling their peace for pocket change, losing their souls over a few coins, all right, trading wisdom for likes, sacrificing relationships for algorithm clout, chasing validation like it's a drug, all right? And then pointing fingers at the same machine they keep feeding. They say, how can I say, they say they hate the system, but won't stop dancing for it. They They scream generational healing, but won't stop scrolling through cycles. All right. So let's just keep it real. All right. Wealth ain't just assets. All right. It's access. It's ancestry. All right. It's the blueprint your children inherit when the Wi-Fi is gone. All right. And make, how can I say, in the masks that fall off. Wealth is, how can I say, wealth is land that feeds generations. Language that won't, no, not won't. Language that wasn't colonized, traditions that heal without prescriptions, all right? Names that still carry sacred meaning, stories that ain't edited for comfort, all right? With wealth is legacy, and legacy ain't built in silence, all right? It's built in resistance, in joy, and remembering what was stolen and reclaiming it louder than ever, all right? So build something that lasts, all right? How can I say? Build something that Build something that lasts past clout. All right. Honor those who came before you. Feed those who came after you, and stop mistaking attention for elevation. All right. Wealth ain't. How can I say? Wealth ain't just counted. All right. It's felt. You feel that within. All right. And before we, that's what we have to figure out. Before we could start building systems that, how can I say, feel like family, all right? Because we're not just reacting, we're rebuilding, all right? And we're doing it loud, all right? Rooted in with love once again, all right? Because sacred rebellion means creating what they said we didn't deserve, all right? Safety, joy, accountability without humiliation, systems that feel like family, not like a HR. Not like HR with a ring, all right? Not, how can I say? Not HR with a ring light, all right? This ain't the Green Lantern. So let's be clear. Healing ain't a competition, all right? You don't win by dragging the next person to a trauma TikTok, all right? You don't get extra points for being the most woke while still ghosting your cousin over a meme, all right? Some of y'all out here doing shadow work with no flashlight, reading self-help books, all right? But still subtweeting your auntie, saging, all right? Saging your room, but ignoring your mama's calls. That's not healing. That's spiritual cosplay, all right? Sacred rebellion means stop mistaking isolation for independence. It means we build systems that check in, not check out. Systems where how you doing ain't just a greeting. It's a lifeline. Where I got you means more than just a retweet, all right? We're talking about, how can I say, auntie-powered accountability circles, uncle-led tech detox Sundays, all right? Cousins, collectives that raise babies and boundaries, neighborhoods where the Wi-Fi is strong, but the love is stronger, all right? Because real rebellion is not just burning down what harms us, all right? It's planting what heals us. All right, it's laughing while we build. It's crying without shame. It's showing up even when we're tired, petty, or still learning. All right, so let's stop performing pain and start practicing power. Let's build systems. All right, let's build systems that feel like family, messy, loud, loving, and sacred. Where rebellion hugs back. All right.
In the old days, love was pure and true. Now it's just a show for all to view. People use it for their own gain, leaving hearts in sorrow and pain. Once a sacred bond, now just a game. Hearts are broken, never quite the same. Love used to be a beacon bright, now it's lost in the shadows of the night. Oh, how we long for those days of yore, when love was honest forevermore. But now it's twisted, tainted and cruel, leaving us drowning in an endless pool. What can we do? In the spiritual world, all seems bright, but shadows lurk in the dead of night. Half of humanity wears a wicked guise, evil deeds hidden behind virtuous eyes. Beneath the surface, a darkness lies, masks of deceit veiling their lies. In this realm where good and evil collide, the line between them is blurred, hard to decide. So tread carefully in this world so grand, for not all that glitters is gold in the sand. In the spiritual realm where illusions endure, evil and good dance in eternal obscure. Just imagine that. Karma doesn't ask you how you want it, it just comes and take it. So be careful how you treat others on your way up the ladder, cause your way down, trust me,
In a world of empty stares, fake love fills the air. Sincerity's distant glare, leaving hearts in deep despair. Truth is lost in a web of lies, hiding behind deceitful eyes. Love that fades and slowly dies, leaving us with heavy sighs. Aching souls in a loveless land, yearning for a genuine hand, but fake love rules with cruel demand, leaving us to understand. In this age of like and retweets, we've forgotten what real love truly means. It's not just about show and tell, but a feeling that makes our hearts swell. It's hard to know who's true and who's fake in a world where appearances are hard to shake. But real love is deeper than a profile pic. It's in the way that someone makes your soul click. So let's not get lost in the digital haze. Let's remember what real love truly conveys. It's not about followers or online fame, but a connection that sets our hearts aflame. In this world of make-believe, they all wear a smile. But behind the scenes, it's just the clever guys, puppets in their show, dancing in their stage. We're all just pieces of their charade. Beneath their mask of joy lies the tangled web, where secrets and deceits are carefully bred. Their lovey-dovey act is just for display. We're all caught up in their twisted play. So let's break free from this illusion so grand and see through the facade with hearts unplanned. No longer pawns in their game of charade. Let's find our own path and not be swayed. I feel like I'm surrounded with people with strings attached to their back, waiting for their master's command. It's like when I was little, right, and I was reading Pinocchio. Every time that he told a lie, his nose grew. It's just that, in real life, their noses don't grow. Karma just catches. In the shadows we see, a love so pure and meek, but all that's left is a ghostly echo, a memory bleak. Longing for a bond that's true in this world so cold and weak. Yearning for the love we knew before the all turned antique. Lost in illusions of affection, bleeding like the mist. Hollow hearts yearn for connection, any realm dismissed. Seeking solace in echoes of the past where love truly exists. But all we find are mere reflections of what love once kissed. Amidst the ruins of our hearts, we search for something real. Yet all we grasp are faded echoes of what used to appeal. In this world where love has become just a commodity to steal. It's just a little food for thought.
Welcome in. Man is Bellinger. I hope I said your name right, man. Welcome to the live. I appreciate everybody, that is showing support, man. But, like I said, this is something I just had to get up there. The link is down below for anybody that wishes, to come up, say something for a few minutes. I'm not going to be here for like 2 hours. And I know I've already been here. I don't even know how long I've been on this, John, man. Like, I haven't been on here an hour, so I'm not going to be here that long, all right, because I do, I got to get my reviews and reactions ready for this weekend. But, a little rebuild on everything that we talked about, all right? We talked about wealth, right? And not the kind that buys yachts and matching Versace's robes for your dog, all right? We mean wealth that feeds your people, not just your ego. Because if your money don't build futures, it's just expensive clutter, all right? Like that crystal collection you bought during your, healing era, but still, cuss folks out in traffic. Come on, man. Like, let's be real, all right? And speaking on healing, all right? Speaking of healing, some of y'all are out here doing, inner child work, all right? But still beefing with your actual child. Lighting sage while throwing shade. Reading bell books, but ghosting your group chat, all right? Healing don't mean becoming the villain in someone else's growth arc, all right? Now, let's talk about clout. Folks sacrificing relationships for likes, selling their peace, all right, for a few coins and a comment that says, you ate, all right? Chasing, what's the word? All right, y'all out here chasing virility, right? I hope I said the word like it's a scholarship. Meanwhile, their ancestors, all right, watching like, babe, we didn't survive colonization for you to do TikTok dances in front of eviction notices. But here's the truth. We're not just reacting, we're rebuilding, all right? Sacred rebellion means creating what they said we didn't deserve. Systems that feel like family, not like a group project where one person does all the work and the rest just vibe, all right? Once again, I told y'all, we want auntie-led healing circles with snacks and side eyes, all right? Cousin collectives that raise babies and boundaries, neighborhoods where the Wi-Fi is strong but the love is stronger, platforms that protect kids instead of, how can I say, monetizing their traumas, all right? Because legacy ain't just land and assets, all right? It's laughter, all right? Language and love that lasts longer than the algorithms, all right? It's building something that don't need a filter to shine. So yeah, laugh, roast, reflect, rebuild, all right? And I want to welcome all of y'all to the third episode of A Shorty Reacts, where we healed loud, all right? Rebuild sacred, all right? And never forget to clown the system while we burn it down with love, all right? The link is down below if anybody wishes to come up. All right. Listen, I just really wanted to get that out my chest. All right. Like I'm gonna make a part 4. I might do some reviews and reactions on the part 4 as I'm speaking and saying what I'm saying. All right, so that y'all can see why I am saying the things that I'm saying. It's too much going on, and like I've said, we've talked about so many things. We've talked about it all, the good, the evil, and the systems that feed of both, all right? Cruel mothers and fathers who never healed, all right? Children turning on parents because pain was passed down, not processed, all right? Gatekeepers in the system who profit off our trauma, all right? Who turn, how can I say, who turn our grief into grants and our wounds, all right? They turn our wounds into algorithms, all right? We talked about how we forgot the blueprint, or maybe we've never taught it because the blueprint was oral, spiritual, ancestral, not printed in textbooks or posted on timelines, all right? So what do we do now? We remember, we reclaim, and we rebuild. So let a shorty know what y'all think, how y'all feel about what she was saying, all right? What do y'all think are solutions that can be brought to the table? All right, or I'm not sure what I'm going to name the next topic, what I'm going to, name the next title. But, I just, like I said, I just wanted to show y'all that, healing ain't quiet, all right? Rebellion hugs back, all right? And clout gets clowned on sight, all right? So today we were talking wealth, all right, but not the kind that makes you allergic to group chats, all right? We mean wealth that stacks legacies, not just dollars, because if your money don't feed your people, it's just a shiny distraction, like burying a $300 crystal, all right, to align your, how can I say, chakra while ignoring your grandmom's wisdom, all right? That's been aligning souls for centuries for free. So we're here to break the cycle, not to keep adding on to the cycle. It's time to break it. So I don't know what y'all are willing to do to break the cycle, but me, I've already broken them chains, all right, that was holding me back. I broke the chains of society, and I've become who I truly am meant to be, all right? I may not be where I want to be in life, all right? I am exactly where I am supposed to be, all right? This ain't just a podcast. It's a blueprint for liberation, all right? And let me see. What is episode 4? I think we're going into youth-led movements, all right? That's what we're going to be talking about. Episode 4 of A Shorty Reacts, we're going to be talking, we're going to be going into youth-led movements, all right? Digital resistance and how to protect the next generation from the same traps, all right? Like, what are you building, all right, that your ancestors would be proud of right now? What truth are you ready to tell, even if it shakes the room, all right? So, like I said before, if y'all enjoyed the stream, man, share this episode. Drop your reflection in the comments, all right? Send this to someone who needs to hear it. Stay tuned because next time, all right, we're passing the mic to the youth. All right, I'm going to see if I can get my son on here. All right, I'm not talking about my 15-year-old. I'm talking about my 18-year-old. All right, so that y'all can see how, how can I say, depending on how we raise our kids, all right, in this spiritual warfare, all right, depending on how consistent we are, all right, we got to get hard. Even with them laws that are put, how passed on down to us, people thought that my son was going to wild out, that my son, was going to fall into the traps of the system. And I told them I didn't raise him to be like that. So I want y'all to see what makes me a proud mother of an 18-year-old autistic son, all right? And I want y'all to see that just because he's autistic doesn't mean that we have to treat him like he's crazy, like he doesn't understand this world, all right? Like he's not capable of doing the things that he has to do. And even though I'm going to have to be an advocate for him, all right, to, the day that I have no more breath in me, all right? And I don't mind that. I knew, how can I say, I know where my life was going when I learned and I figured out, that he had autism, that he had ADHD, all right? And I knew that my life wasn't mine no more once I gave birth to my firstborn, all right? I had to change a whole lot of me around, and it took me a minute, all right? So sometimes, it's hard for us to figure things out, but we wasn't given a manual when we had these kids. And especially when a baby having a baby, all right? Life isn't going to be all roses. Things ain't going to be handed to you, all right? Being a baby, having a baby, all right, means that your life completely changes. Everything gets harder, all right? So these are the reasons why we do these open panels, why we talk about, why we talk and have these conversations, all right? So to most of y'all, what I've said today may be a message, all right? They be like, well, she has a channel, she's, putting messages out there. For me, it's called, how can I say, poetic justice, all right? All this comes from deep within. This is what I think. This is how I feel, all right? I feel as though that we can make a difference, all right? That we can improve, all right? We can't change the world, all right? I'm not trying to change people. I'm not trying to make them do this. I'm not trying to convert them into nothing. First of all, I don't have a religion. I believe in God, nothing more, nothing less. You see where I'm coming from? But I feel as though these conversations are needed. And I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, all right? These lives aren't for everybody, all right? But if you're here today, you are a part of the solution, all right? Gary says some people's peace is chaos and a piece of action. Facts. Facts, facts, facts. That's why we come on here and we have these conversations, right? And, those who need to hear it, hear it. You see where I'm coming from? That's why I tell people, man, if y'all have enjoyed the stream, listen, the like button is right there. Make sure y'all smash it for a shorty. But I really don't care too much about the likes. I'm not going to sit here and lie, all right? Now, if y'all share my video, that right there, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Help me bring awareness. You see where I'm coming from? That right there matters to me. All right, guys, that's all I've had to say, right? I don't got nothing more right now to say unless I'm sitting here in my head thinking. That's all I had to say, all right? Like, how can I say? I went over everything that I said in the beginning, right? I talked about it. I mean, maybe I switched it up a little bit. I'm not switched up what I said. What I meant, the words a little bit at the end, all right? But it was basically the same thing, right, that I was saying in the beginning, all right? Like I told y'all, when I come on this bitch, it's just to give some poetic justice, all right? Not to bash, not to bring anybody down, all right? And, it's good when we get people up here. Like, I do drop my links because, listen, my channel consists of, how can I say, chatting with my subscribers, all right? It consists of me asking questions, so I got to pay attention to my chat. All right, sometimes I get a little distracted and I'm going in, but that's because I got to get it out. Because if I pause for 1 second, all right, and stop saying what I'm saying, all right, and I pay attention to the comment, I got to restart or, figure out a new way on how to say what was in my head. I get all thrown off and discombobulated. So I appreciate all of y'all that came through today, all right? Had a conversation with a shorty, heard a shorty out, all right? And until next time, this y'all shorty, all right? But wait, before I leave, like I said, all right, the Stream Elements link is in my community wall, all right? The link to my Cash App and PayPal is in the description box down below. So for those that do want to, support a shorty's birthday episode, hey, holla at shorty, all right? Instagram is down below. Everything, all right? Ways to reach a shorty, contact a shorty is down below. And I want to say thank you to all those that sent a shorty videos, all right? I appreciate those DMs, all right? Every video I watch, I have it on a playlist, all right? When I get a chance, we're going to get through all of them, all right? We're going to review, we're going to react, all right? And we're going to get through some of them, all right? And we're going to talk about it, all right? We're going to bring solutions to the table that will help us improve our everyday lives, all right? That will help us become a better us, all right? Because I'm not in competition with nobody. If I'm in competition with anybody, it's me to become a better person than what I was yesterday and then what I was today, all right? To improve the things, all right, that I've failed in, all right? And in order for me to do that, right, in order for me to tell people, or help somebody else on how to improve something, I have to learn how to improve my own things first. You see where I'm coming from? So, shout out to all those out there, man. Let me get off this, John. I'm not sure who's live, but we out.